Today, I have a few things I want to get off my chest. And you know what? It might be an unpopular opinion. Let's talk about it. Us motorsports fans, we are incredibly nostalgic people. We tend to romanticize the past a little bit more than we should. Personally, I've been watching the sport for about 25 years, and even races before I was born, races that I was too young to remember. I've gone back and watched so many of them. I've watched about every North Wilkesboro race I can go back and watch. Tons of old Bristol races. Pretty much if there's a copy of it on YouTube, I'm there to watch it at some point. So this week with the introduction of the next gen car and some of these talks about different street courses and things like that, I was really stoked to see a good positive response from the fan base. It seems like a lot of people are really hyped about the next gen cars. They look fantastic. I'm really excited and very anxious to see how the car races on the real life racetrack. I'm very excited to see that. And that brings me to what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I think we talk too much about rules packages, and I think the fan base doesn't really know what it wants when it comes to rules packages.
I think we talk about packages too much.
Sure, the popular opinion is the low downforce, high horsepower packages. That's what I prefer. I think it makes sense for the drivers to have to lift a little bit in the corners. That seems like something that should be happening in stock cars. This makes it really hard to talk about because if I suggest anything to the contrary of that, if I say, you know what, hey, I like the current package, people tend to leave a bunch of angry comments and they get a little pissed off about it. For years, pretty much from 2015 to about 2018, NASCAR was taking downforce away from these race cars. You know, they're constantly chopping off the spoiler, doing some stuff underneath the car just to try to reduce some downforce. One thing with the low downforce package, when drivers were around each other, they could make a little bit more calculated passes and stuff like that when they were around each other, but the field did get spread out a little bit more. The downside to that, NASCAR fans, they get on Twitter, they get angry, they complain about the race cars, they complain about the racing, NASCAR isn't what it used to be, blah, 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 because it seems like everyone thinks they're a dang aerodynamical physicist or something. You like that word? I made it up just now. And I think what happened is NASCAR just basically got sick of hearing it, and they said, hey, we have this package on the back burner over here, and our engineers are saying it'll probably make closer racing. So, you know what? Instead of listening to all these people complain every week on Twitter, we're just going to implement this other package that we have. And you know what? I think it's okay to hate the idea that drivers are flat out through the corners. That's a very understandable, reasonable opinion to have, I think. That's what my opinion is. But also, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the high downforce, low horsepower packages can't produce good racing. Because spoiler alert, they can. They absolutely can produce good racing. And you know what? I think at certain 1.5 mile racetracks, certain intermediate tracks, it has improved the on-track product to some extent. It might be a little bit hard to pass, but I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing either. You know, we just don't need to be sitting here all the time debating, if an extra inch on the spoiler makes a difference or not, or, should we add, 300 horsepower back into these race cars and whatever. We just don't need to be doing that. We talk about rules packages too much. And like I said earlier, we're incredibly nostalgic people. We want to sit here and look at the race cars today and go, why are they not the race cars that we had in the early 90s? Or why are they not the race cars that we had in the 70s? Why can't we go back to a completely stock car? Truth of the matter is, when we did that, people were lapping the field sometimes. Back in the 60s, 70s, the racing was not very close all the time. We see the highlight reels. We see the great finishes of those times, but we don't see Richard Petty lapping the entire field several times over at Martinsville. We don't see that happen anymore. And if that happened today, people would lose their freaking minds. NASCAR wouldn't hear the end of it. Twitter would die. It'd blow up. It'd be gone forever. I think going forward, we need to judge the racing by the racing on the racetrack. Not the rules package that's on the car. It's not always relevant to the conversation. We tend to put some blame on the package when really, like dirty air, for example, we're never going to completely get rid of that. And it's always existed. It's not like a new thing that just happened with the Gen 6 cars or the car tomorrow or whatever. Talk to Mark Martin about that. He'll tell you about the dirty air in the 90s. It's a thing that has always been a part of the sport. Because we're just smart enough to know what it is now, and that's just how it is. And I know the rules package is relevant to the racing on the racetrack. I'm not an idiot, but I think sometimes we just place blame against it because we don't like the principle of it, and that's just, it's a little ridiculous. So big motor, small blade, whatever, that's what I prefer. That's what I want. But you know, we have some great races. We've had some fantastic races here in 2021. I'm finding it pretty hard to really complain right now, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I just want some positivity. That's all I want. I just want some positivity. But yeah, and I think we got a good, healthy dose of that this week with the next gen car. Let me know what you think in the comments. I like hearing what you guys have to say, even if you disagree with me. We're all allowed to have our opinions, and I think that is pretty freaking cool. So do that. Like this video. Give me a subscribe if you want to. You know, I come out with videos when I can. I like to, you know, do this for fun. So, you know, I'm here to have fun, and that's pretty much what it is. But until next time, my name's Tyler. This is Tight End Loose Off, and I'll see you later.